Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Dom, and I'm here with Anthony.
Hey.
This is the A word.
It is.
And I'm getting pretty excited. WWDC is coming up next week. Not this coming next week, but the following, the 10th.
Next week.
I mean, isn't
week.
Sunday technically the beginning of the week?
It is
right?
next week.
Okay, so
well,
yeah, if you
in America.
no, I mean, but like on the calendar here, it's even Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday,
According
Saturday.
to Apple, Sunday is.
So that it must be right.
Yes.
Then it must be. If Apple deems it that way, then that is how it shall be. So WWDC is coming up next week, and there's some stuff that's going to be announced. iOS 7, the next version of OS X shall be announced. Lots of other stuff. Huh?
I said chant it.
Chant it, yeah, right. Lots of other stuff may be announced. I mean, there's rumors of some hardware and stuff, but I don't expect to see like an iPhone or an iPad or anything like that. Maybe like a Mac Pro, updated MacBook Air, things like that. I don't expect any iOS devices to be coming out at WWDC this year. And the funny thing is, Apple just released an iOS device, and if many of you do not know about that, Apple released a modified 5th generation iPod Touch that it's weird, okay? I get it, but it's weird. Now, this modified 5th generation iPod Touch, I actually have one here. I did a video on it. I actually did a video, just an unboxing video, and then I did a comparison video between this iPod Touch and the current, or the, I should say, higher capacity 5th generation iPod Touch, because the one that was just released is only 16 gigabytes. So it's a 16 gigabyte 5th generation iPod Touch. Retail is $229. But this model does not have a camera, does not have a back camera, a rear camera. It has a FaceTime camera, a FaceTime HD camera, but it does not have a rear camera. So that's definitely something notable. Now, some people, I should say there's probably a good handful of people that are disappointed about this. Now, here's question of the week here, question of the episode, I guess, is how do you feel about this? Like, and I'll explain this a little more, and then you can kind of give your answer down there. But whoa, what just happened? Something got weird. Anyway, so how do you feel? That's what it is. This cable is bad. That is a fail. Okay, so how do you feel about this 5th generation, this modified 5th generation iPod Touch? So it's missing a rear camera, and it's missing the little loop accessory, and it has, instead of aluminum buttons, it has plastic buttons. Aside from that, it's identical to the current 32 and 64 gigabyte version of the 5th generation iPod Touch. So how do you feel about this iPod Touch here? Now, keep in mind, this version, this modified version, the 16 gigabyte 5th generation iPod Touch, is meant to replace the 4th generation iPod Touch. Now, here's something I want to bring up here. So a lot of people are angry that the current 5th generation iPod Touch does not have a rear camera, the 16 gigabyte one, right?
Yeah.
Well, here's something funny to think about. So the rear camera on the 4th generation iPod Touch, which is the model that this redesigned 16 gigabyte 5th generation is replacing. So 5th generation 16 gigabyte is replacing 4th generation 16 gigabyte. The rear camera on the 4th generation 16 gigabyte is only 0.7 megapixels. Right? That's fact. You know, I'm not asking. It's a fact. You can check on Apple's specification pages. Now, think about this. The front camera, the FaceTime HD camera on the 5th generation iPod Touch, the 16 gigabyte one, and the same one on the iPhone 5 and on the higher capacity 5th generation iPod Touch is 1.2 megapixels.
Yeah.
So the front camera is actually better than the rear camera was on the 4th gen, and it's also better than the VGA camera that was on the front on the 4th gen. So you're really getting a better camera, even though it's a front-facing camera, which is kind of awkward to take like actual pictures with. It's a better camera.
Yeah.
So you're getting a better camera. Now, I'm not trying to defend Apple's choice to remove the camera. I think it's kind of silly. I understand why they did it in order to cut costs, to bring down this newer 5th generation iPod Touch to an affordable price so they could have a lower end model to replace the 4th gen iPod Touch, probably because they want as many people as possible that are buying entry-level devices to take advantage of powerful features that may be coming in iOS 7.
Mm-hmm.
So, like you would imagine, the 16 gigabyte 5th generation has the A5 processor, and it's got the same IPS display found on the higher capacity models and on the iPhone 5. So you're getting a much better display. I mean, if you look at the viewing angles here, I mean, look at how does that look to you? That one looks crappy, huh? The 4th gen
looks pretty.
Like when you look at it, straight on, it looks better. But you're getting
Not to mention smaller.
Yeah, you're getting a way better display, a 4-inch display at that, and like I said, you have a better camera on the front than the 4th gen did on the back. But a lot of people are still, kids buy these, or the kids get these iPods. I'll let you get to that in a second. But kids buy these, or parents buy these for their kids. They can take pictures with them. There's a lot of social networking apps too that utilize photos, like Instagram and Facebook's camera app and like the YouTube capture, stuff like that. And obviously it's awkward to point your phone or your iPod screen out to like take a video or a picture because you can't even see what's happening on the screen. But what do you guys think about that? What do you think it is? Do you think this is a downgrade?
Are 2 cameras necessary?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think it's a good thing to have 2 cameras, but do you think this is a downgrade? Because aside from losing the camera and that stupid loop accessory, you're getting a much better device, like a lot better, for for $29 more. Now that's totally Apple to do. They like kind of give you almost what you had, just marginally better with an updated processor.
A little bit less, but a lot more
for $30 more. But I prefer the updated hardware over the crappy rear camera that was present on the 4th gen iPod Touch anyway.
Well, that camera is actually better than both of those were, correct? The new camera?
Well,
the
front-facing camera, and this is the same the front-facing camera on the 16 gigabyte 5th generation iPod Touch is the same camera on the iPhone 5 and on the higher capacity 5th generation iPod Touch models and on the iPads as well. So that camera is the front-facing camera on the 4th gen iPod Touch is VGA. VGA quality.
Yeah.
The rear camera is 0.7 megapixels. And I'm just talking about picture quality here. 0.7 megapixels. Now, the front-facing camera on all the other devices is 1.2 megapixels. Much better. Much better quality. Now, you're not getting the same low light abilities, the same aperture as the rear cameras on the other devices. But as far as pixels go, just raw pixels, this is how it is. It can be argued that it's technically better. So what do you think? Let me know what you guys think. Leave us a comment and tell us how you feel about this new device. Is this a downgrade, or is it worthwhile for the updated hardware to take advantage of the new features that may be coming in future versions of iOS? Because technically, Apple just kind of future-proofed this device a little bit.
Yeah,
they future-proofed their low-end iPod Touch offering by updating it with this processor and stuff. Now, that's not to say that in a year from now, or maybe less, we'll see this same low-end one come out with a camera.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's totally Apple of them. Like, they'll be like, now our low-end model has a camera, and everybody, huzzah! You'll have the whole crowd cheering and whatnot. Oh, man, this...
And it's almost like I
should have used a different mic cable.
They downgraded just to upgrade again.
Yeah.
If that were to happen.
Yeah. So, aside from that, well,
I mean, it though. It looks really good.
Okay,
you know?
That's another thing too. Maybe this whole episode should just be about this iPod Touch. I don't know. No, but that's another thing too. Is I do prefer. Okay, you know what, you guys, if you want to know what I prefer, you should definitely go watch this comparison video that I did. But I like the color scheme on this 16 gigabyte model. It's got a black bezel, screen bezel, and it's got a silver back with plastic black buttons. Now on
nice.
On the 32 gigabyte iPod Touch and the 64 gigabyte, the only iPod with a black bezel also has a black body. So take that for what it's worth. But yeah, so back to WWDC stuff, right? Okay, this actually came from, pressed the link on accident. This actually came from via 9to5Mac, and why is my keyboard connection lost? That is not good. Oh, that wasn't the keyboard connection. That was my unmagical trackpad. Because it's not... Are the batteries dead? Okay, there we go. So, this is via 9to5Mac, and an analyst from KGI Securities listed his forecast for the MacBook Pro and MacBook Air updates that are expected at WWDC. So here is what he said, and like I said, via 9to5Mac, we expect the new MacBook featuring an upgrade to Intel's Haswell processor will be in the spotlight for Apple at the upcoming WWDC from June 10th. Along with the new processors, we expect the following modifications to each product line. The Retina MacBook Pro, the 13-inch, will be slightly slimmer, along with a camera upgrade, potentially to full HD on the front camera.
Yeah.
We expect the 13-inch Retina MacBook Pro will have a slightly slimmer form factor, increasing its portability, and we also think the camera spec will be updated from HD to full HD, and that'll obviously improve like FaceTime and stuff like that. Now, the reason why they're saying this about the slim form factor is because the Haswell processors, they dramatically reduce the power consumption on a device because they're just way more efficient. So it could add battery life. It could make the battery life a lot longer. Now, if Apple's planning on slimming it down, that may be because they're planning on just removing some of the batteries because actually, according to the same article here on 9to5Mac, the 13-inch Retina is very slightly, and that's a quote, very slightly thicker than the 15-inch model. So maybe they're going to remove some battery to make it on par with the 15-inch Retina MacBook Pro as far as like thickness goes. But it would obviously be a lot better if they left the battery in there.
Yeah.
Or as much of the battery and had a longer battery life.
What do you think they're going to do? You think they're gonna?
I don't know.
I think they're. I mean,
I really have.
I personally think they're gonna.
No idea.
They're gonna say that there's longer battery, no matter what. They're gonna come out with. That
yeah, but
statement.
Apple likes to play it safe, you know. So even though you could get, you know, they just say up to 8 hours or whatever, you know, or whatever up to this on their iPhones or their iPads. They like to play it safe because not everybody's going to get the same thing.
Of course,
because
people
if you're doing
complain.
intense stuff, like you know, if I'm editing videos in Premiere, that crap drains my MacBook's battery, editing videos without it plugged in. So they like to play it very safe. Now, I don't know. I have no idea what they're gonna do with it. But one thing that's also been noted in another article here from from Mac Rumors. This is via MacTrast. The entry-level quad-core 3.2 gigahertz Mac Pro is back-ordered and out of stock at a bunch of stores online, including B&H Photo, CDW, PowerMax, Mac Mall, Adorama, J&R Electronics, and also Amazon. It's low on stock. There's like a few left, and they say, quote, more on the way, like they usually do. But it's very possible that we could see an updated Mac Pro at WWDC because Apple said that in the past that they were going to release a new Mac Pro for 2013, and that was actually that was a spokesperson from Apple that confirmed a new Mac Pro design was coming in in 2013. So I think that that's something that's very, very possible for us to see. Also, I do think that a new Thunderbolt display will be released. I don't think it's going to be Retina, just going to be a standard Thunderbolt display. I don't think they've had that technology cheap enough. I mean, think about how much it would cost for an iMac that had a Retina display.
Yeah.
That bumps up the cost of the MacBook Pros quite a bit. I don't think they would be able to do it right now without keeping it, relatively in the ballpark within $1,000 or so.
I don't think it's a good idea.
Why not?
Right now.
Why? I mean, if they can do it for cheap enough.
Yeah, pricing points.
That's what I was saying. I mean,
right now, I think that there's not enough people that would want to buy it.
I would.
Well, I mean, I would want to, but have enough money to pay for it.
Well, yeah, I mean, the thing is, if they can keep it within the same margin that they have the Retina. Whoa, man, this mic cable. I really should have switched. I really should check this stuff before I started. If they can keep it within the same price point as the Retina MacBook Pros, not in the same price point, but like the difference there. I mean, it was understandable. You're getting a much slimmer, sleeker device, and you're getting this beautiful Retina display, which is really the only differences between a standard MacBook Pro and a Retina MacBook Pro. But if they can keep it like that, they give you a nice thin design for like a Thunderbolt display, and it's got a huge Retina display on it. That like a 27-inch Retina display. That would be really nice. I'm waiting for a Thunderbolt display to come out like that, even just an updated one, because just the fact that the color is so much better on Apple displays than it is. I mean, for me personally, just what I like, the color is so much better than some of these other, third-party manufacturer monitors that you can buy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I would prefer. But I don't know. I mean, it's kind of up in there. Like I said, I don't expect any iOS devices to come out. I don't expect any major updates to any MacBook Pros or any like new models introduced or anything like that. I think that this the article that we were talking about earlier about the slimmer 13-inch Retina MacBook Pro with the 1080p camera is definitely a possibility.
Yeah.
I think updated MacBook Air with new processors, probably a spec update, just a marginally, bigger update, nothing crazy, and Mac Pro. I mean, that's really what I'm banking on, me personally, but what do I know? I don't I don't know any. That wasn't like a what do I know?
I don't think it's time for a new product right now. I think they're waiting on that. It's Well, they have so much coming out right now.
Tim Cook said any revamps to iOS devices are happening in the fall. I believe it was Tim Cook in an interview that said, this, or no, it was on the earnings call in the fall. He's just said that in the fall this is when you can expect this stuff, which kind of threw off everybody and kind of onto a different path, because I think they want to keep WWDC more about developing and not just about this keynote that everybody looks forward to. You know what I mean?
Well, not to mention they can have 2 or 3 or 4 if they wanted to.
Because I think they're hoping that whatever iOS 7 revamp they're doing is going to be the star of the show. You know what I mean? Because that a lot of people are banking on that being the highlight of the show.
Did you see those pictures that have been leaked? Apparently, it looks pretty. It doesn't look too different,
That was actually
the same.
This was actually an exclusively posted on iDownloadBlog. There was a leaked screenshot. You can go look at it actually, iDownloadBlog.com. I'll link to it for you guys too. But there was a screenshot by a feller on Twitter named Sonny Dixon. He's been out and about in the blogging community for quite a while now, and he always has little digs like this. So I downloaded the blog, had this article here, and now this is all, this is rumor until it's proven. I mean, unfortunately, but the screenshot is said to be an iPhone running some kind of iteration or version or whatever of iOS 7. Mm-hmm. Now, the app icons are definitely a little flattened out.
Yeah, it's not bad though.
No, it's not a bad thing. They're slightly flattened out. Now, you can see some. They actually had Shurnix, which is a pretty well known designer in the jailbreak community, mock up these icons as they look on this screenshot here, just kind of to get a better representation of it. So these icons on here aren't the real thing. In the screenshot, allegedly, those are the real thing, but Shurnix mocked up these icons to kind of represent what that screenshot shows. And I mean, it's not a huge drastic change or anything. If this is true, if this is real, then whatever. It's not that big of a deal. But ironically, okay, the other part of it, you can see in the comments down here, some people are like, "Oh, that's it? Really?" You know what I mean? Like
you expected so much more to happen.
Well, no. But like people are slamming like flat design on iOS a lot, blah blah blah, and then when they get something that might be actually has the possibility of being real, they're like, "Oh, that's not enough flatness for us to argue about." You know what I mean? That's what it seems like. It's not enough flatness for them to get mad over or something.
I like personally the weather app and the if you scroll up a little, I don't think it's on that second part, but the Game Center right there. It says Game Center. It's a completely different icon.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell, so I can see why they didn't do that. But
yeah,
it's completely different.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
I always kind of didn't like this little chest rocket baseball bat thing. Whatever.
I don't know. I just hide Game Center. I don't use it, so it doesn't bother me. But so go check out this article on iDownload blog. I'll link to it for you guys. It's pretty interesting, actually. It's pretty lengthy. There's a lot of information in here that you guys should definitely
check out.
Definitely look over. But we'll find out if this is true next week, too. On the 10th, we will find out everything that we've been waiting to hear, which is going to be interesting. But real quick, before we go, I do want to get back to this iPod Touch. Now, like I was saying, it's okay. Let me just put this out here for you. The 16 gigabyte 5th generation iPod Touch, it's better to think of this as a straight up replacement for the 4th generation than it is to think of it as a lower capacity 5th generation.
Yeah.
Even though it's a 5th gen, you know what I mean?
Well, it really did replace it.
It literally did, yeah.
But they stopped selling,
but people are. I mean, and again, I'm not trying to defend this iPod Touch because it's an inanimate object and I don't care. But people are comparing it to being, and while it is a part of the same line as the other 5th generation models, people aren't comparing it to the fact that it's replacing the 4th gen. They're just comparing it to the fact that it's missing features found on the other 5th gen.
Yeah. So,
you
know what I think? I think that they needed to get rid of that charger port.
That's a big point too. That was the
biggest change on there, I think.
And here's the thing too. Okay, by Apple giving us this modified, dumbed, I guess you could say dumbed down version of an iPod because it is missing a couple of notable, one very notable feature, which is just the camera.
Yeah.
With them giving us this, they've technically, in some way, shape, or form, handed us a low-cost iPhone. They're testing the waters with this guy.
Yeah.
Because Apple plans on cutting costs. Allegedly, plans on cutting costs to release a low-cost iPhone, possibly with, I'm not saying it won't have a camera, but possibly with like a plastic body
but you know what?
Or something that's more affordable on an unsubsidized rate. So I think Apple is testing the waters with this iPod Touch here. And if people dig it, they'll know that they're going in the right direction. Because this is the first time that Apple's like, well, actually, no, it's not. Because they did this with, at one point in time, there was a camera on the iPod Nano. So they did, and then they took it away, you know. But what were you going to say?
Oh, I was just saying how I think the new iPod Touch they needed to put it out because I think it's basically the charger. You know, I think that's the main.
No, I don't think that's the main thing.
Well, no, but I mean that's what.
Because you have the iPhone 4 and 4S that are still being sold.
True, and I think they're getting, you know.
Well, I guarantee you.
Those are not going to be around.
No, they're not. The iPhone 4S, iPhone 4 will be discontinued. The iPhone 4S will be replaced with whatever they're planning on bringing to the table as a low-cost iPhone.
Exactly.
That is what it's, I mean, I can't say for sure, but I'm pretty damn certain that that's what they're planning on doing. So,
I think that they want to get that old stuff out and bring the new stuff in and
but aside from
everything.
What I get from this, though, is that possibly, the 4th generation iPod Touch isn't going to be able to run a lot of cool features on iOS 7. Maybe there's something special that they're planning on putting on there. And okay, first off the bat, the 4th gen doesn't have Siri. You know, just as the iPhone 4 is out on its way out.
Yeah.
The iPod 4th gen, iPod Touch 4th gen doesn't have Siri. It doesn't have 3D maps. You know, it's already behind as far as features go for iOS 6. Imagine iOS 7. You know, they're probably going to introduce some new features that require faster devices. Hence, them getting rid of the iPod Touch 4th gen and getting rid of the iPhone 4 and replacing the 4S with a lower cost on an unsubsidized rate phone. So
it must be all those flat icons that are making the new revamp.
What do you mean?
Taking up more processing battery life.
Oh, right. But yeah, I mean, I really think that's what's happening here. They're not trying to downgrade; they're trying to move forward.
Yeah.
And yes, okay, there are some sacrifices involved, but like I said, what do you guys think about this whole thing? I mean, obviously it was quite a bit of a switch up when they just released out of nowhere. This is the quietest they've been about an iOS device launch. Granted, it's just a slight modification of a line that's currently existing, but with that being said, it's also replacing another device. Apple is not manufacturing the 4th generation iPod Touch anymore.
Yeah.
They don't sell it on their website. They're taking them down in stores. They're not selling them anymore. They're gone. And this is the quietest they've been about just completely ditching a device.
Yeah.
You know, they were quiet about modifying this, and just out of nowhere, it was like, okay, tomorrow this new iPod Touch is going to be in the stores, but it was, it's just an extension of an existing generation. That's not what I'm talking about them being quiet about. They're really quiet about just throwing away a device. Maybe they didn't want to cause too much of a fuss about it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe they didn't like it as much, and they just, whoever was in charge of doing it said, I want to do something different. And I think it looks better. I think, by far it looks better,
It's a better back. I don't care how it looks. I mean,
I'm just saying
they do.
The people,
The people.
The people of Apple
We
supporters.
The people.
If you see it, you'll think it looks better, I believe. It doesn't have that back, that shiny,
the iPod
scratchable
logo.
back that.
On the 4th gen iPod,
exactly.
Yeah. But mine's still scratchless, by the way. But anyway, so tell me what you guys think about that in the comments below the article or the video or anything like that. And I don't know. I mean, I like how this looks. I know a lot of people have mixed feelings about this. I, for one, am a supporter of this 5th generation 16GB iPod Touch. Also, you should go check out the video that I put up. Comparing what I did in this video is it was kind of a comparison between the higher capacity 5th generation model, the 16 gigabyte 5th generation model and the 4th generation model all in one. So if you want to see that comparison video, youtube.com/MacMixing, you can check it out. It's pretty cool. A lot of people have found it to be very interesting. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. You guys should definitely go check it out and let us know what you think. But what were you going to say? You were going to jump in?
No.
Oh, well, never mind then. So anyway, go check out that video, you guys. We're getting very excited about WWDC. There's going to be a keynote on the 10th, which is a week from tomorrow. So stay tuned for all the live coverage from that keynote and all the post coverage and everything like that.
And I think there's going to be something awesome about iOS 7 that none of us are even going to see coming. That's my prediction.
You're going to have to really wow me to make something awesome because, I don't know, I don't get impressed by, I don't know. I mean, I think that, I just don't know what they could possibly do to wow me that much.
That's why I'm saying that you're not even going to see it coming. You know?
Because it's not going to come. It's never coming. No,
well, it's iOS 7, Lucky 7, I don't know. I
maybe.
think that they're going to do something awesome with it.
I'm sure there's going to be a standout feature like there is
always, you know.
Yeah, there always is something like that. With iOS 6 when you have the maps, you know what I mean? The 3D maps. That was their big thing.
They need something for us to talk, not us, but they need something to be talked about, you know? Something awesome.
Yeah.
And I think that there's going to be something cool that they're going to do.
I guess we'll find out next.
I really hope so, at least.
I guess we'll find out a week from Monday, so stay tuned. And we will be talking more about WWDC next week, which is actually a day before it starts, the day before the keynote.
And we'll see what rumors we can find.
Yeah, right? I'm sure there'll be a lot more coming out this week as well. So pay attention to the news. Follow me on Twitter. All these links for the articles. I'm so out of it today. I'm sorry. I've been tired working all day. All the links for the articles that we were talking about are going to be in the YouTube description in the article. So go ahead and check all those out if you want to see more about iOS 7 and about some of the predictions and rumors surrounding WWDC 2013. We will catch all of you next week. We appreciate you listening. Please rate us on iTunes, subscribe to the podcast, all that great stuff. Thanks again, and we will talk to you guys next week.